Hello, this is Keith All, and in today's tutorial, we're going to learn how to create this, what I call light burst text effect. So basically, we're going to have a light up here, as you can see on this current image. There's like a light burst here, like a light is shining down here. And also, you can see on the top of each letter and over here, you could see that it's lighter than the other areas, and that's because the light, I'm trying to simulate the light shining down on this, because these are like letters that are pushed away from the wall, so to speak. And so we're going to learn how to do this. So let's go over to our new canvas. I'm going to drag in some pictures here. Let's do this here. Just a second. So the first thing I'm going to do is drag in the texture or background that will simulate the floor. So I'm going to drag this in. There we go. Now I'm just going to use the control key on a PC to drag this down. Let's do this on this side. So I'm just in free transform mode right now. And I'm going to use the ruler so I can get this straight. Okay, I'm using the Shift Alt key and clicking and dragging here. And I'm going to leave it about like that. So I'm going to press Enter to apply those changes. Now I'm going to drag in the other picture that will simulate the wall portion of it. Okay, let's do that. Okay, press Enter. Okay, I'm going to get rid of the rulers. One easy way is pressing Control H. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a new layer. And I'm going to use the brush tool. And I'm going to set the foreground color to black. And I'm going to, let's do that. Let's decrease the size of the brush. I'm using a left bracket right now to decrease the size. And all I'm doing, since I have a new layer, all I'm doing is I'm going to draw a black brush along this. And as I'm doing it, I'm using the Shift key, so it draws a straight line, basically. Okay. Just a minute. Let me erase this. Okay, what I'm doing now is I'm going to draw a selection right where this floor and wall meets. And I'm going to use the rectangular tool to draw my selection. Just about there. Now I'm going to use the brush tool. And I'm going to use the Shift key so I could draw a straight brush. Just like that. Control D to deselect. Now I'm going to use the opacity on this layer to turn it down slightly. Okay. Now it looks like there's a separation between this area and this area, and if you look closely at it, it almost looks like there's some depth to the picture here, because now we got the floor here and the wall here. So our next step is to add text. So I'm going to go ahead and select the text tool, and now I'm going to just type the word focus. I'm going to click this check mark up here, Control T, and then Shift Alt, and then click and drag. Okay. I'm going to press Enter to apply that change. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some text effects. So if we look back at this original picture, we have like we have a bevel and emboss effect, a color overlay, a gradient overlay, and a drop shadow. So let's first select the drop shadow effect here. I'm going to double click on this layer to bring up the layer style dialog box. Add a drop shadow to it. So let's see. Let's bring this down just a bit. Okay. I'm going to just click OK. I'm going to switch back and forth just to double check our settings. I'm going to do the color overlay next. So I'm going to select this right color, Control C on this area here. Click OK. I'm just going to double check the drop shadow. So we got multiply 90, 29, and 27. Okay. Let's go back here. Double click. Select the drop shadow. This was 94. The opacity. The angle was set at 90. 27. 0. 29. So now a color overlay. Okay, I got the right overlay now. Now let's see what the settings are for the gradient and also the bevel and emboss. So let's go back here. Double click on here. The gradient is going to be from white to black, linear, and the blending mode is normal. So let's do that. White to black, okay. Let's go back here. Gradient overlay, just a second. So black to white, normal, 72. Okay, let's do that. Okay, that's all set. Now let's go back here and let's double check to see what the settings are for the bevel and emboss. Let's just double check the gradient. 72. Okay. So what I have it set as blend mode normal. This is a white to black gradient. Linear, the angle set at 90, and the scale's at 72. Let's see what the bevel and emboss is. Let's see. Okay, let's go back over here. Bevel and emboss. So it applies the previous settings. So basically I set the bevel at inner bevel. So let's just change it. Let's see how it changes. See how it changes the bevel portion a little bit. So I selected an inner bevel. The depth, let's see what happens with the depth. See what's happening with the depth? It creates this bevel on the sides of the images there. So I'm going to decrease it just about there. The direction is up. If I select down, you could see what the lighting does with the bevel. It brings it on the lower end of it. So we want it on the upper end. The size, see what it does with the size. So I'm going to bring it back down to 5. The soften, see what it does to the edges. It brings the light in a dimmer view. So let's bring this back down to about 0. The angle is set at 90. The altitude is 30. We have screen as the blend mode or the highlight mode. Let's see what happens. Normal. Not much. Let's see. See what it does. I'm cycling through. I'm using the arrow key right now because I'm in here. So I'm going to go back to screen. This might be okay too. Lighten. There's screen. I use the white. The opacity is set at 100%. And the shadow mode is set at multiply. So let's see what effect. See what it does over here to the effect of it. I'm just cycling through. So right now it's at color burn. Darker. So you could get a lot of different effects from there. I'm going to go back to multiply. Okay, and it's set to black. The opacity is at 75%. You can see when I change the opacity, it changes this color right here. So let's go back to 75. Okay, so we got all of our effects there. Okay, the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a layer. And I'm going to use the brush tool. And I'm going to set my foreground color to white. And I'm going to increase the size of the brush by using a right bracket. And I'm just going to give it a little dab right above here to give it a light effect. And there you have it. And that's, you learn many different things by using multiple effects on your text layer. You learned about this light beam up here. I just used the brush tool with the foreground color set to white to create this kind of shadow or depth feeling or look to make it look like this is the floor and this is the wall. I just used the brush tool and I used the selection so it only paints a certain portion of that layer. So I did that. So hopefully you got some new skill sets today. Please stop by often because I upload multiple videos a week. And subscribe to my channel and click on that bell notification so you always get updated when a new video is ready. And also please like, share, and comment. I appreciate your support and I'll see you on the next video. Bye now.